California halibut are large, toothed flatfish found in near-shore waters and may be described as being an estuarine inner shelf species. They are visual, ambushed predators that range from Magdalena Bay, Baja California north to the Quileute River in Washington, being most abundant from central California to Baja California. Though they may be found in ocean waters as deep as 600 feet, 183 meters, they are most often caught by anglers in 10 to 90 feet, 3 to 27 meters, of water. California halibut are broadcast spawners, and eggs are fertilized externally. Adults migrate from the continental shelf into shallow coastal waters and bays before spawning, usually from February through September. Eggs are pelagic, free-floating. Larvae develop with one eye on each side of the head. As California halibut mature and reach the post-larval stage, 20 to 29 days, one eye migrates to the other side so that both eyes are on the same side. California halibut may be right or left-eyed. In the Pacific halibut, Hippoglossus stenolepis, the maxilla extends only to the front edge of the eye, whereas the maxilla extends beyond the eye in California halibut. Pacific halibut have more than 80 soft dorsal rays and the eyes are always on the right side of the head, whereas California halibut will have less than 77 soft dorsal rays and the eyes may be on the right or left side, dextral or sinistral. Studies. California halibut is one of the most important recreational species in Southern California, and commercially fished species among the state-managed fisheries. The Southern California Fisheries Research and Management Project obtains essential fishery information, EFI, such as length, weight, age, and sex of halibut from commercial landings in Southern California ports and from sport-caught fish. The Northern and Central California Finfish Research and Management Project obtains basic length, weight, age, and reproductive information from sampled landings in Central and Southern California ports. Choose from the links below for more information about California halibut. The goal of this study is to develop a fishery-independent index of juvenile California halibut abundance. The index can be used to inform management on the status of the resource, and provide predictions for recruitment to the fishery in Southern California. Because juvenile halibut spend their first couple of years exclusively in shallow offshore locations and embayments, conducting swept area trawl surveys can be used to evaluate distribution, relative abundance, and expected contributions to the fishery. Starting in April 2018, CDFW staff began conducting biannual trawl surveys in the spring and fall months using a 25 feet otter trawl. Trawls are deployed in 13 primary locations ranging from San Diego to Los Angeles. 10 10-minute trawl surveys are conducted in 8 to 20 feet depths at each location, and all of the fish caught are identified and measured. All halibut greater than 3 inches are internally tagged with a passive integrator transponder (PIT) tag that allows for identification of specific individuals when recaptured. This study uses similar methods to those used by CDFW from 1993 to 1995, including net parameters, survey locations, depths, and trawl times. Following these past protocols presents the opportunity to evaluate current population abundance relative to results obtained in the 1990s and establishes a new baseline for comparison to future surveys. If you're looking for a staple fish, Californian fish, one that everyone loves, wants to catch and eat, nothing is a better fit than halibut. Sure, salmon, striped bass, and sturgeon all have their place here, but halibut is such a popular fish that a subspecies was even named after the state. It's easy to understand why halibut fishing in California is simply fantastic. Whether you go after the Pacific halibut in the north, or stay south and get your fill of California halis, you can do no wrong. But how do you catch them, where are the best spots, and how do you differentiate them? If you plan on booking your trip, but you still have all these questions, we'll help you out. We already mentioned that there are two varieties of halibut, California halibut and Pacific halibut. It's quite easy to tell them apart. First, there are some clear physical distinctions. California halibut are much smaller compared to their Pacific counterparts. The average weight of Cali halis is between 5 to 20 pounds, though there are some bigger specimens out there. Pacific variations can get much larger, often upwards of 100 pounds, and trophy catches can go up to 300 pounds and 8 feet. There's a seasonal closure for Pacific halibut, usually at the beginning of the year, so be sure to check the regulations before you go. Another easy way to tell them apart is by checking where their eyes are. Pacific halibut always have their eyes on the right, while California halibut can have them on both sides. California flatties dominate the state's fisheries, both in numbers and in quality. They make for fabulous table fare and usually aren't too hard to find and catch. Whichever halibut you choose, landing them is going to be a blast. Since they're named after the state itself, California halibut can be found all along the coast, and all the way to Baja California. Pacific subspecies stay in the colder waters of NorCal. To get to them, you'll need to cast your line north of Point Arena. Both halibut live and feed on the bottom. They're the ultimate ambush predators, and their appetite knows no bounds. They've got large teeth that help them chomp down on anything that unsuspectedly swims nearby, your bait included. California flatties are more widespread, and you can find them very close to shore, in bays and estuaries. They spawn in shallow waters in spring and spend their fall and winter in the offshore realm. Pacific halibut are the complete opposite. They spawn in the coldest days of winter close to the continental shelf. As the weather gets warmer, they come closer to land, where they'll be feeding until it's spawning season again. All halibut love underwater structure, so it's always a good idea to look for them around reefs, wrecks, and jetties. They prefer sandy bottoms, but you can easily spot them around rocky surfaces as well. As long as there's a good place for an ambush, they'll be there. It's always a good time to go after some halibut, there's no real off-season. The best time to go after halibut in California is in spring, usually from March to June, and in the fall, September to November. This is the optimal time to catch both California and Pacific halibut not too far from the shore. Anglers love to fish for halibut in spring and fall because they flock to the nearshore waters in great numbers. You don't have to travel far or book long trips to get your share of the state's favorite flatties. The fact that they're among the tastiest catches you can find in the area only makes things more exciting. While spring and fall mark the peak season for halibut fishing in California, summertime and wintertime have their own place. Halis stick around all year. It's only a matter of finding them. In the winter, when the weather is fair, head to the waters more than 100 feet deep, and your trip should be productive. In the summer, shallow waters get too hot for halibut, so they migrate to open waters for the season. California halibut is one of the best fish to target if you're a beginner angler. Pacific halibut are bigger, and as such, reeling them in requires more experience and strength. Let's go through some tips on tackle and which techniques work best for tempting that hali to bite. California halibut usually aren't very fussy once they're hooked. They're known to throw in some fierce head shakes as you get them out of the water, so stay alert as you get them into the boat. Reliable tackle can help you a lot here. You'll need a 6.5 or 8 feet spinning, casting rod with fast action. Halibut can nibble on the bait before they gulp it down, so you want to make sure you feel the bite from the get-go. Pair the rod with a medium-sized reel that allows a smooth drag, in case you have to maneuver the fish before you get it into the boat. When it comes to the line, you can go with a 15 to 30 pounds monofilament or a 50 to 60 pounds braided line. Halibut have sharp teeth that can cut the line easily, so you'll want a 20 pounds fluorocarbon leader, up to 3 feet long. You'll also need a sinker to keep your bait close to the bottom. Its weight will depend on the water movement and the type of fishing line. How the fish will take the bait depends on its size. Bigger fish are greedier, and they get to the offering in one gulp. Smaller halibut are more hesitant. They'll play around with the bait first, so you must wait before you set the hook. Otherwise, you might scare your prey away. Once you hear that reel screaming and you feel your hali's weight on the line, it's time to get it to the surface. It's recommended to reel slowly, to avoid your flatty fighting you every step of the way. Which live bait should I use for halibut fishing in California? A lot of local boat fishermen swear by using live bait for halibut fishing. California's favorite flatties are always hungry, and live bait gets them to bite quickly. What do they respond to best? It depends on the season, but the truth is halibut will ambush anything that swims by and looks like food. They love anchovies, smelt, and sardines, but can't resist greenies, lizardfish, and squid either. In Southern California, grunion works wonders, especially during their seasonal runs. The size of the bait fish can vary, but anything up to 8 inches long will do the trick nicely. Which lures should I use for halibut fishing in California? If you prefer using lures for your fishing expeditions, no worries, halibut are partial to them as well. Halis rely more on their sense of smell than sight, so choose lures that play into that and you're bound to succeed. 2 halibut on a fishing line, in the water, near the water surface. You'll want scented lures that aren't too flashy or noisy because they could scare the fish away. It's recommended to work the lures in a way that emulates an injured bait fish. It will get halibut to come closer. Jigs are another great choice. They're heavier and they easily attract the attention of your prey. Gulp grubs work well because of the unique tail movement, which halis love. If you're fishing in slow-moving water, swim baits might be your best option. When it comes to the color of your lures, match it to the color of the water. If you're fishing deep dark waters, you'll want strong scented lures in more natural green and brown variations. Fishing in shallow bays and in the surf works best with brighter greens and reds. One of the best things about halibut fishing in California is that it can be pretty straightforward. As long as you drop your offering to the bottom in the vicinity of hungry halis, chances are you'll get a bite. These are some of the most frequently used halibut fishing techniques in California. Drift fishing is the go-to fishing technique for boat fishers, especially if you're going out with one of the California fishing charters that specialize in halibut fishing. Because your offering is carried by natural currents, using live bait is more productive. Drifting works in almost any fishing condition. You can drift fish along underwater structures, in bays, along reef edges, anywhere where halibut hooked. can anchor and explore a larger area around the boat, or use a trolling motor if you want to be more accurate in your casts. We already know that halibut like to nibble on their food before they swallow it. The slower pace of drift fishing allows them to get the bait fully into their mouth. Then you can set the hook and gently, but firmly get them to the surface. Pro tip: if you're fishing for barracuda in waters up to 100 feet deep, drop some bait to the bottom. Sometimes halibut gather under the feeding barracuda because they can get an easy meal, and you can take advantage of that.